Hi, welcome to the day 12 of 10-minute wrap-up series. In this video, we will learn about the Indian diaspora, which is the most important theme of GS2 syllabus, particularly of IR section, which carries 15 marks, 50 marks. UPSC asks question on diaspora every 2 years, which means they ask a question in 2017, 2020 and 2023. There is exactly 2 years gap between the questions of diaspora. That means there will be question on diaspora in mains 2026. So it is very important to have a two-pager notes on this Indian diaspora. Before starting, let us go through previous year questions. Indian diaspora has scaled new heights in the West. Describe its economic political benefits for India, which was asked in 2023. They asked the role of Indian diaspora in the West and their economic and political benefits. The next question is Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in politics and economy of American and European countries. Comment with example. This is the same question that is asked, but the language is changed. Here they mentioned West, here they mentioned American and European countries, which is nothing but the West. Indian diaspora has an important role to play in Southeast Asian countries, economy, society. Appraise the role of Indian diaspora in Southeast Asia. They asked role of Indian diaspora in Southeast Asia. Now let us see what all we need to remember to write an answer on Indian diaspora. In the introduction, you can start with the Honorable Prime Minister held the Indian diaspora as Indian ambassadors to the world. And also External Affairs Minister Jaishankar told Indian diaspora is a global bridge connecting the Indian past with the future. I repeat, Indian Prime Minister held Indian diaspora as Indian ambassadors to the world, and External Affairs Minister held that Indian diaspora is our global bridge connecting the India's past with the future. Now we'll see what is the policy of Indian government towards the diaspora. Initially, Pandit Nehru's government held the policy of active disassociation with the diaspora. But in 1990s, that is post LPG reforms, the active disassociation policy shifted to renewed engagement, where Honorable former Prime Minister Vajpayee started Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, that is held in January 9. This is the annual summit where Indian government recognizes the contributions of NRIs and OCIs, that is overseas citizen of India. And the present government's approach towards the Indian diaspora is used as a strategic asset which contributes to the India's soft power. Now let us see what are the significance of Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora helps in boosting the Indian economy. For example, in 2024, the Indian diaspora contributed a remittance of 129 billion US dollars, which is highest in the world. And also overseas Indians invest in the business and startups, which in turn promotes the entrepreneurship and job creation. The second important significance is high achievers on global stage, where Indians head the major global firms like Sundar Pichai, who is the CEO of Google, and Satyam Nadal, who is the CEO of Microsoft. And also in the political arena, Kamala Harris held the post of US Vice President, and Rishi Sunak, who was the former UK Prime Minister. And also, Indian diaspora strengthens the foreign relations. They play an important role in securing the favorable policies for India. For example, India-US nuclear deal. The next important significance is knowledge and technology sharing, where high-skilled professionals contribute to the research, innovation, and academic exchange. And the last important point is promoting cultural and spiritual tourism, where diaspora attracts the global interest in Indian heritage and in turn promoting the tourism and people-to-people connection. You can also summarize the points of significance by quoting Devesh Kapoor's idea of 4 channels. The first channel he mentioned is about prospect channel, which is when an individual have an opportunity to immigrate can affect individuals' education choices. He invests in the skill, which in turn helps in human capital formation for India. The next channel is absence channel. The absence channel creates some kind of vacuum in the Indian labor market, leading to opportunities and the increase of wages for Indian laborers. The next important channel is diaspora channel, where Indians provide the economic remittance. For example, I mentioned earlier, $129 billion in 2024. Social remittance, that is values and ideas of other Western countries, are brought to the India. Political lobbying, for example, India-US nuclear deal, where Indian diaspora played an important role in securing this deal in favor of India. Return channel, where Indians bring back some skills and knowledges, which helps in reversing the brain drain of India and contributing to the development of India. Now let us see what are the concerns of Indian diaspora. They face the discrimination abroad, facing the racial attacks and social exclusion, particularly in UK, US, and Australia. Indian diaspora faces the racial attacks and face the social exclusion issue. There is a poor worker protection. For example, Gulf migrants face the abuse under the kafala system, and there is a poor legal support for Indian workers in Gulf countries. The third concern is cultural identity loss, where the younger generation who are born in abroad face the identity crisis. They are detached from the Indian language and Indian heritage and culture. And there is also a limited political rights for diaspora. NRI cannot vote easily. The diaspora's voice is missing in policy making. There is a narrow engagement focus of Indian government. Indian government only values the remittances, that is economic benefit, whereas the expertise and innovation of diaspora is not fully tapped at. And the next important issue is reintegration of returnees. There is a problem of reintegration of the returnees into Indian labor market system. You can also summarize these concerns and quote the Standing Committee on External Affairs, which was chaired by Shashi Tharoor. The Standing Committee on External Affairs highlighted the concerns of Indian diaspora faced abroad. The first challenge is no single clear policy document for diaspora, no centralized database for Indian diaspora, need for remittance reforms, that is reduction in the transaction cost, and the grievance redressal for diaspora is very weak. And there are some recruitment malpractices. For example, Indians work as mercenaries in Russia-Ukraine war, and also cyber slavery in Myanmar. The existing penalties and fines are insufficient to curb these malpractices. Now let us see what are the key initiatives taken by Indian government. The first key initiative is Pravasiya Bharatiya Divas, which is celebrated on January 9, which is an annual summit recognizing the achievements of NRIs and OCIs, that is overseas citizen of India. And the next important program is No India program, where young Indian diaspora is brought back to India for promoting the understanding of Indian heritage, democracy, and development of India. And another key initiative is Indian Community Welfare Fund, where it provides the financial and legal assistance to Indians abroad. These are the key initiatives: Pravasiya Bharatiya Divas, No India program, and Indian Community Welfare Fund. Now we'll see what we can write in the way forward. There is a need for scaling up the returnee reintegration models. For example, nationalizing the Kerala's returnee support, where Kerala government helps for the Indians who are returned from the abroad to integrate into the Indian labor system. And there is a global best practice, that is Philippines model, where it is having a separate department for migrant workers. And this model is called as employer staffing agency pay model, where recruiters cover the pre-departure expenditure. And there are also secured government to government agreements orders with 65 countries. This is the global best practice where Philippines government helps in providing the safety for migrants. Now we'll see what we can write in the conclusion. A forward-looking migrant policy must go beyond the crisis response to institutionalize the rights, representation, and reintegration. I repeat, a forward-looking migrant policy must go beyond crisis response to institutionalize the rights, representation, and reintegration. Let us summarize what all we have seen in this video. I have told that there is exactly 2 years gap between the questions of Indian diaspora. I have given the introduction where Indian Prime Minister held that Indian diasporas are the Indian ambassadors to the world, and External Affairs Minister tell that Indian diaspora is our global bridge connecting the India's past with the future. And I have given you the evolution of India's government policies towards the diaspora. I have given you the significance. Let us summarize the points. They help in boosting the Indian economy. They are high achievers on global stage, where the Indians hold the high positions on global stage. They strengthen the Indian foreign relations with other countries in favoring the policies related to India. They provide knowledge and technology, promoting cultural and spiritual tourism. And also, you have seen the idea of 4 channels given by Divesh Kapoor. They are prospect channel, absence channel, diaspora channel, and return channel. And we have also seen what are the key concerns. They face the discrimination, poor worker protection, cultural identity loss for younger generations of India, limited political rights, narrow engagement focus. That is, Indian government only value the remittance, whereas the expertise and innovation of Indian diaspora is not fully tapped at. And there is a lack of reintegration of returnees policy. And also, I have given about the Standing Committee on External Affairs, where this committee highlighted the concerns of there is no single clear policy document, there is no single centralized database, and there is a need for remittance reforms. Grievance redressal diaspora is very weak. There are recruitment malpractices, and we have also seen what are the initiatives that are Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, No India program, Indian Community Welfare Fund, and also in the way forward, we have seen the successful model of Kerala, where returnees are reintegrated into Indian labor market, and also global best practice, which is Philippines model, and also we have seen the conclusion. I will come up with the next important theme. Until then, I hereby signing off, one of the unreserved mind of UPSC community. Thank you.